Hare Krishna, Namaste, Chapter 18, which is entitled as Sannyasa Yoga. Sloka 56. Sarva-karmāṇy sadā kurvāṇo mad-vyapāśrayaḥ mat-prasādād avāpnoti śāśvataṁ padam avyayam. Now the topic changes from what we discussed in the previous sloka. What was mentioned earlier was that nitya karma, naimitika karma and kamya karma. These are the three types of karmas that mentioned in the scriptures. Nitya karma means daily duties. Naimitika karma means occasional duties. Kamya karma means desire-driven or desire-oriented activities. All these three are mentioned in the scriptures. For those who wants to know more about details of Nitya, Naimitika and Kamya Karma, kindly refer to chapter 4, Sloka 17, recording. When one does this Nitya and Naimitika Karma with proper understanding that it is the Lord who is doing this activity, keeping me as an instrument, I am not the doer, then that will lead one to get Atma Darshana, and that then leads one to Parabhakti, Parajnana and Paramabhakti, where one reaches the Supreme Lord. Now the subject that Krishna has taken here in this sloka is about Kamya Karma, that desire-oriented work. Krishna says that it is not only the Nitya and Naimitika Karma leads one to attain moksha, but also Kamya Karma. Well, that's quite interesting to know. But let's hold on to the thought to hear fully from Krishna. We have learned that one must perform their Nitya and Naimitika Karma as prescribed by the scripture without fail until one's end of life. It is mandatory. Whereas Kamya Karma is optional. It is not mandatory. If Kamya Karma is done as per one's ability, as it is mentioned in the scripture, one will get the desired result. Those results are certainly material benefits. If it is material benefits, then how can Krishna say that Kamya Karma, which gives material benefits, is going to help one in spiritual progress to attain moksha? Krishna is going to answer that in this sloka, that even Kamya Karma gives moksha, provided that the person does Kamya Karma without expecting any benefits, but just does that as an offering unto me. Now let's understand the meaning of the sloka. Sadā, always, mad-vyapāśrayaḥ, under my protection, that is, taking refuge in me. What it means is submitting oneself in a way that whatever the action that they are doing, it is actually done by Krishna. The action doesn't belong to oneself, but it belongs to Krishna. Likewise, the result also doesn't belong to oneself, who performs the karma, but the result belongs to Krishna. Mad-vyapāśrayaḥ, sarva-karmāṇy, like the Nitya and Naimitika karmas, the Kamya karmas as well. We will see how we derived to Kamya karma when it says sarva-karmāṇy later as we go to the details of the sloka. Kurvāṇo, one who undertakes, mat-prasādād, by my grace, mercy, śāśvataṁ, eternal, padam, me, who am to be attained, avyayam, imperishable, immutable, avāpnoti, one attains. Translation: though engaged in all kinds of activities, my pure devotee, under my protection, reaches the eternal and imperishable abode by my grace. First thing, let's clear one thing before we go to the details of the sloka. Krishna says, sarva-karmāṇi. Sarva-karmāṇi, where Prabhupada translates it as engaged in all kinds of activities. That doesn't mean all kinds of activities includes even abominable activities, adharmas, prohibited activities. Krishna would never say, you do anything, doesn't matter. Be a criminal, be a terrorist, be a thief. Don't follow the scriptures. Perform adharma, but still you will attain me. If Krishna has to say that, the whole purpose of Bhagavad Gita would be lost. And the very first person who is going to support that idea would be Arjuna, because he wants to give up his varnashrama dharma, kshatriya dharma, and do something else, which is actually adharma for him. Then Krishna should not restrain him from doing what he wants to do as per the sloka, because Krishna says sarva-karmāṇi api. You can do whatever you want. But that's not what Krishna says, and that's not what Prabhupada also says in his translation. When it is said, though engage in all kinds of activities, that means all kinds of activities as prescribed in the scriptures, not that which are not prescribed and supported, approved by the scriptures. Prabhupada's understanding is, at least after coming to 18th chapter, 56 sloka, pretty much to the end of the chapter, the student of Bhagavad Gita, the reader of Bhagavad Gita, will know what it means by engaged in all kinds of activities. Once you graduate from the previous grade, then you don't go back to the previous grade. Already it has been explained several times what are the activities, what are the activities that one needs to perform. Those are which supported by the scriptures. That which are not supported by the scriptures are not considered to be dharma. So one more time, Prabhupada means that all kinds of activities is that which is prescribed in the scriptures. That which are not prescribed in the scriptures should never ever be undertaken. If performed, one is simply displeasing Krishna and have to suffer in the hell. Then the question is what it means by sarva-karmāṇi. Scriptures prescribes 3 categories of karmas, activities, duties. One is nitya karma, next is naimittika karma, and the third one is kamya karma. What Krishna is saying here is, just like the nitya and naimittika karmas, the kamya karma can also be done. That is what sarva denotes here. The question is, why all of a sudden Krishna is talking about kamya karma in the sloka? For that, let's understand the reason for the birth of the sloka. Arjuna clearly understood from the previous teachings that nitya karma and naimittika karma leads one to moksha. He doesn't have any doubts about that. But here Krishna is instructing Arjuna to do yuddha, battle, fight. This yuddham is neither nitya karma nor naimittika karma. Then why are you, Krishna, asking me to fight? How this fight, battle, will lead me to attain moksha? The fact is that I lost my kingdom and I am now fighting to get it back. If I see in those lines, I am desiring to obtain the kingdom back. My action is desire oriented. Therefore it is kamya karma. It cannot be nitya karma or naimittika karma. If I am performing kamya karma, which is desire driven, then how can I attain moksha? Because throughout Bhagavad Gita, you have clearly mentioned that material desires are not good for one's spiritual progress. It binds one into this material world. But you are saying even the kamya karma, when it matures, it gives moksha. How is that possible, Krishna? Krishna smilingly said, Arjuna, don't think you are asking a smart question. Whichever way you ask this question, my answer is same. Before I tell my answer, let me correct you in two mistakes that you did in your statements. First mistake, you said, I am fighting to obtain the lost kingdom. The mistake there is you mentioning to obtain the lost kingdom. The second mistake is you said nitya and naimittika karma gives moksha, whereas this fighting that you're going to perform is kamya karma. But understand, Arjuna, I never said that this fighting as a kamya karma. I agree that the fighting, yuddham, is not in the list of nitya karma or naimittika karma. But understand, this yuddham is certainly your varna ashrama dharma, which I have already mentioned. But if you want to be adamant and stick on to this idea that performing yuddham as kamya karma, that's fine. Still, this will give moksha. Arjuna was bewildered. Krishna then revealed the answer that though yuddham that you're performing is not kamya karma, if you still consider that to be a kamya karma because you feel that you want to obtain the kingdom, it can still lead you to moksha provided that you fight with trivida tyaga. Arjuna, that is why I said earlier, before I answer this question, my response is going to be same. Whether it is nitya karma, naimittika karma, or it is kamya karma. When one performs any of these karmas with a proper consciousness by applying sattvika tyaga, trivida tyaga, then that person will certainly attain moksha. If one does the kamya karma with desire for benefits, result, it will become the enemy for one's moksha. Whereas if it is done without desire for result, the same kamya karma becomes the hetu for moksha. Therefore, sarva-karmāṇi sadā, kurvāṇo mad-vyapāśrayaḥ, mat-prasādād avāpnoti. śāśvataṁ padam. The term padam which has been used here referred to Krishna himself. Padyate iti padam. That which is being attained is said to be padam. The scripture says that Vishnoho paramam padam. Therefore, it is the same Vishnu who is padam, who is to be attained. So what Krishna is saying here is, for those who perform kamya karma without desiring for result, they will attain me by my grace. In other words, I give them moksha. Now a question pops up in our mind. Here Krishna says, by my grace he attains me. But earlier, quite few times, repeatedly, we heard that it is by bhakti one attains Krishna. Whereas Krishna says here that by his grace one attains him. Which one is right? Does one attain moksha through bhakti or through Krishna? We should know that bhakti is upaya, a means to attain moksha. Like how Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga are upaya to attain Atma Sakshatkara, Bhakti is the upaya to attain Krishna. But Krishna says, here, by His grace, one attains Him. So is it Bhakti or it's His grace? We should know that when a person performs Bhakti, Krishna, who is pleased by the Bhakti of the performer, gives moksha to that Bhakta. Whereas, for one who has surrendered, who has performed Sharanagati, Krishna is upaya. That is, Krishna himself becomes means. The Sharanagata understand by performing bhakti, it is Krishna actually who gives the moksha. Therefore, we consider Krishna himself to be the upaya and performs bhakti not as a upaya but out of love for Krishna. This is a slight difference between one who performs bhakti and who has completely surrendered, who has performed Sharanagati. Let me repeat one more time. For bhaktas, bhakti is upayam, where for Sharanagatas, Krishna is upayam. In both cases, it is Krishna who gives moksha, both to bhaktas and Sharanagatas. One more point to understand is in 55th Sloka, Krishna used the term vishate, that is, one who understands me fully as I am will attain me. Vishate, enters me. Whereas here, mad-vyapāśrayaḥ, the same vishate is being used here as well, in different terms. Therefore, Arjuna, even if you consider fighting to be a kamya karma, when it is done with trivida tyaga, you get the same result of nitya karma and naimittika karma. The understanding is that when one performs nitya karma and naimittika karma, one does with trivida tyaga. So the same principle is also applied when performing kamya karma. Therefore, Arjuna, you can happily fight, performing trivida tyaga, and the result of you attaining me will be guaranteed by my grace. In the next sloka, Krishna proceeds to instruct Arjuna that he should realize all this and engage himself in the performance of his duties. Sarva-karmāṇi sadā, kurvāṇo mad-vyapāśrayaḥ, mat-prasādād avāpnoti, śāśvataṁ padam avyayam. Namaste. Hare Krishna.